So many people out there like to claim I hate women, but I keep saying no, I don't. I'm just indifferent, I guess would be a better term. I view women no different than I do men in most cases, which, to be honest, a lot of women, when they lose their privilege, they view it as oppression. But no, I don't hate women. And to prove how I don't hate women, how about I give some advice that may actually help a bunch of women out? I know there's only like maybe 2 of you listening to this at any time, but this isn't a troll. This isn't a joke. I'm actually being dead serious. It's possible for women to have it all. A family, a career, everything. It's possible. You can have it all, but the only way you can do that is by not listening to feminism, and you just have to reorder the way you do things. Feminism has you screwing it all up and doing it in the wrong order. Don't just take it from me. Take it from every 40, 50-year-old woman who realizes she's going to die alone now. They warn you, younger women, all the time, but the younger women never listen. Like, oh, what do you know? I do what I want. So yeah, don't just take it from me. Take it from them. All of these older women who fell for the feminist lie and got screwed up, they're going to probably sign off on what I'm about to tell you. You got 2 priorities, right? If you want to have it all. You want to have a family, right? You want to find a good man to take care of you. You want to have kids. You want to be a mom, right? But then you also want to be a man effectively. You want the male privilege of working yourself into an early grave, working long hours at a thankless job. You can have both of those things if you just change the order in which you do them. If you want to have them both, what you need to do is the opposite of what you're doing now. Because what you're doing now is women waste their youth pursuing a career, and by the time they hit like 40 and they realize, oh, I make 6 figures now, I'm well established in my career, now it's time for me to find a man and start a family. And then they realize there's no men. Or at least there are men, but not of the caliber that they want. Because women, unfortunately, have a bad habit of projecting what they want on a man onto us men. Or from a man, rather. So they want from a man, like success, being a provider, whatever, having your own job, your own car, your own house. And they assume that's what men are looking for in a woman, I guess. But no, that's not the case. I see this all the time. You got these like 40, 50-year-old women that I got a lot more to offer than some 19-year-old. And they say stuff like, well, I got my own house. Guys like, I got mine already. I don't need one. Well, I got a car. I got mine already. I don't need one. I got a job. Why do we both need that? I got that already too. Because what guys want is, a young, fertile woman to have a family with, honestly. And when you're in your 40s, that's not you. So again, you can't have it all. Just do it in the opposite order. So what I would say is right out of high school, that's when you got to hook the man you want. So you get married and have a family first. And then once you're in your 30s and your kids are old enough so that they're either at school and extracurricular activities all day, or they're old enough to take care of themselves, then you go to college and work on your career. Once you've already had your kids, and your kids are teenagers now and can look after themselves, and you're not going to have kids anymore, so now you can focus on getting a job so you and your husband can retire early. And I mentioned this before, and I actually had some people tell me, like, oh, well, who's going to hire some 40-year-old woman with no experience? And all I have to say to that is, I would. Put yourself in the position of an employer deciding who you're going to hire. I know this is a big assumption for you men out there. This is a very big assumption. Assume that when you're looking for who to fill this position with, you're thinking with your brain and not your dick. I know it's a tall order, but it's possible. So imagine you get to choose between who you hire, and you got the You got the 40-year-old woman with no work experience, just got a college degree, but she's got the whole experience of properly raising a family, and she could prove her kids turned out well. So you got to choose between hiring her or hiring the 23-year-old just out of college. I'd much rather hire the 40-year-old myself because she's got a lot more experience, a lot more knowledge. She probably has management skills at that age as well. So I think it would be a lot less of a risk to hire the 40-year-old woman than the millennial fresh out of brainwashing institute. And I know I'm not the only one. And especially if this was a common thing. If women played their cards right and did the smart thing and just had their families first and properly raised their kids first, and then after their kids are independent, worried about getting a job so they can retire early, if everyone did that, this wouldn't even be a fucking problem. But again, no. The problem is women try the opposite. They live their 20s and 30s as if they were men. They go around riding the cock carousel. They say no to all these quote-unquote good men. And then once they hit 40 and they have their career and that, now they want to settle down. They've ridden the cock carousel long enough. They enjoyed their youth. They explored. They had their fun. Now they want to settle down. And they look around and they see none of those guys they were stringing along in their friend zone are there. All those guys they rejected 10, 20 years ago are now happily married and have families. And this pisses them off because they're alone and miserable. And they realize that every single thing they had going for them that would have helped them land the kind of man they want, they blew. Because they spent their youth, instead of trying to find a good man and hook them early and start a family with them early. No, they decide, no, I'm just going to party. I'm going to focus on my job. And by the time they get around to actually starting or trying to get a family, it's too late. Guys, especially the type of guys they're looking for, they don't want them. So women, you can have it all. But the only way you're going to get it all is by listening to me, not the feminists, funny enough. But we'll see what happens. I actually know of a few women that did that. Actually, my mom was one of them. She quit her job once she got pregnant with me because my parents did the math. And they saw that it was actually a lot cheaper for my mom to just quit her job and raise me than it would be for her to keep working and them to pay a babysitter or something or daycare. My dad, before anyone says, why didn't your dad quit his job? He was in the army. That's not an option. You can't just quit the army. And plus, because he was in the army, my mom got all that free health care when, resulting, was her being pregnant with me, all of the medical complications I had as a crotch fruit. Yeah. Quitting the army is no option. So my mom, after raising me and my sister, once we were old enough to take care of ourselves, then she went out and got a job. Then she went out and worried about raising more money. And now both my parents are retired. Yeah, both my parents are retired. Yeah, and my dad was in his mid-60s when he retired. Yeah, my mom was in her late 50s. But they're both retired now, which is more than I can say for a lot of Americans out there. So yeah, just don't listen to the feminists. In the short term, you're gonna enjoy yourself, but long term, you're gonna suffer. Listen to me instead. Funny, you gotta have it mansplained to you, but I'm sorry, this is just the truth. Yeah, don't waste your youth and beauty and fertility while you got it trying to be a man. Have your family first, and then try to be a man later. You're gonna be a lot happier for it. Because what you're experiencing in your youth is not going to last. That's another unfortunate reality for women. Because they get used to being treated with privilege. They get special treatment pretty much from the moment they're born until they hit the wall. And then they feel invisible, as they put it. Because the privilege goes away and they start being treated equally. They're treated as equals. They're being treated like men. And they call it feeling invisible. So you got to know that's coming. You're not going to be young and beautiful forever. And once guys no longer want to have sex with you, they're going to stop treating you like you're special. And by that time, it's too late. So don't waste what you got while you have it. That's all I got to say about that.